Hello and welcome back to Widowed AF. You're here with Rosie and John Gilmoss.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for tuning back in again. We're doing this one. We're actually recording this later in the day than we would usually put it out. But I think we massively underestimated how weird this week would be because we had one child break up 2 weeks ago, two break up a week ago, and one broke up yesterday. And those of you who are parents will understand the end of the summer term madness that happens in schools. So, long story short, because that really would be a terribly boring podcast to listen to, we were knackered. We didn't get a chance to do it. We're doing it now. We're going to edit it quickly and hopefully get it actually Friday afternoon. So this is the closest run we've had with getting one turned around. And, well, let's see. Let's see, shall we?
Let's see.
Because I suspect this is going to... There's going to be a little bit of this going on over the holidays. We've got interviews and conversations booked in, but in terms of doing these episodes, I think it's going to be a sort of seat of our pants and kind of record wherever we are, which might be interesting because we've got a few trips planned this summer.
Yeah, it could be fun actually.
Yeah, let's not commit just yet. We'll see what the Wi-Fi connection is like in any of these places. Right, so back to the matter in hand. We would like to just kind of catch up with you a little bit about Erica's episode, which went out on Monday. So again, for those who haven't listened, you must, of course. But Erica is a Brazilian living in the UK, and her husband, Julian, died. Sorry, Erica. Died from leukemia. And she just advocated for him in a way that just was so, here I go, inspirational. And actually, I had a couple of messages basically saying that if you were in crisis, you would want Erica in your team, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
She just learned everything there was to know and even knew that he had leukemia before he did, and certainly before doctors did, because she'd not done the sort of bog standard Google search. She'd basically become an expert on his symptoms. And actually, I have to say, it did remind me a little bit of how you must have been with Sarah, because you kind of became a cancer expert very quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, then very quickly didn't become a cancer expert. Most of the knowledge dropped away. But yeah, at the time, I remember reading and researching everything just to get us up to speed. So it's remarkable what we do during those times.
Also, when you say that you were this kind of temporary expert and that you knew a great amount of things about the subject for a short amount of time, and that's quite familiar as well, because at one point I knew quite a lot about the coroner's court process and the legal process of going to the High Court and all the sort of complex things that went on. Could I tell you any of them now? Could I fuck, right? No, I just assumed that was a sort of an ADHD thing, really. I can't really remember my degree, but that might also be booze related. But perhaps it is to do with the brain just being completely overloaded, and this sort of knowledge that you take on is no longer useful, so it just sort of lose it.
Yeah, I can't even remember the name of the consultant.
No.
For the life of me. It's in my phone somewhere, so I could find it if I wanted to, but I wouldn't know where to start, and there's an entire patch of my life gone.
But I suppose you can't, it's in there somewhere, isn't it? But it just gets pushed a little bit further back because you just couldn't possibly retain every single detail. And while you're living through it, you can't imagine a time where you won't remember every single detail. I can't picture the police officers that came to the house. In my head, it was a male and a female, and they were very young and quite frankly looked a bit out of their depth on that one. Oh, God, what a terrible analogy. Sorry, widow humour. But you would think that those faces would be etched onto your memory until the end of time. Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but everything seems to move on.
And you are really firefighting, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
There were a few other really sort of moving and, I don't know what the word is, in some ways relatable aspects to Erica's episode. She talks about putting on the mask, because you don't want your children to see the grief And particularly, I imagine, when you are caring for somebody that's terminally ill, because, gosh, you know what's coming for this kid. You don't want to make the last bit any harder.
Yes, that's quite literally the definition of a brave face.
Yeah, it really, really is, isn't it? And it's totally understandable, but it's really important that there's somewhere that we can take down that mask and not have a brave face, because living behind that is exhausting. And you know, she was she was working really hard and juggling, and it sounds tough, but she says herself being busy is a coping mechanism, and it's one that I myself am guilty of. We both are. I'm an absolute nightmare, really, and I have been, for sort of surrounding myself with people. And initially, it was just sort of fill the house and have the noise, and also, I guess, a little bit of permission to get hammered. Whereas now, I'm able to, I do manage it better, don't I? And I have
Mm.
sort of outdoor gatherings, and they're a little bit smaller, but yeah, it's still the to-do list and the pressure. I tell you what, I'm going to give you an example, and it's a really stupid example, but it's popped into my head. I was making birthday invitations for Tabby because her birthday falls during the summer holidays. And I wanted, I wanted them to be in the book bag because it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, she wanted a frog invite. Did I need to spend, I'm going to hazard a conservative guess at 3 hours searching Etsy, Canva, the entire World Wide Web for the perfect frog invite, and then insisting on printing, although I did get photo paper in the charity shop for 50p. That was a right result. So I printed them at home, put them in the bags, and then I'm stood there debating whether I should put them in an envelope with a little frog sticker that they can all have, and writing each individual child. And I actually stopped myself and I thought, what are you doing? But this pressure to be kind of busy or perfect and overcompensate for, I don't know. I've gone off on a tangent, haven't I?
Well, I think I see the point that you're getting to is the overcompensating for what they have missing. You
Yeah.
just want to make everything a little bit more special.
Yeah. But it does come at expense to time and kind of sanity.
Mm.
So I've given myself permission to just make my life a little bit easier for a while. So I've done some things that I'm very lucky I'm able to do. I bought some frozen, nice quality ready meals and put them in the freezer, because sometimes I can't be bothered to think what to do. And it just takes the pressure off. It's not permanent, because I used to really like cooking, but
Mm.
it's finding ways of sort of taking a little bit of pressure off. But yeah, it is difficult when you're used to outrunning the demons in whatever way you outrun the demons, to stop outrunning the demons, and I've kind of run out of ways now.
Um,
I've resorted to literally running it.
well, I did something similar, and yes, I had to tell you about it earlier. So, for full disclosure, everybody, I'm back in counselling.
Well done, that man. I
Uh,
really like it when men take care of their mental health.
yeah, and my personal counsellor is like a personal trainer, or if you can't sign up to a diet in the street package, then it's the same sort of thing. And
Mhm,
I've had a tough couple of weeks, and I needed a little bit of help to solidify things in my
mhm.
head. So I think so I've gone back into counselling. And we were discussing how I pretty much leapt straight into counselling after Sarah died. And after listening to all you guys' stories and everything else, and the chicken and wine phase,
Mhm.
where was my chicken and wine phase? Well, my chicken and wine phase was burying myself in work, saying, "Oh, it's all right, I'm in counselling, not worrying about it." And it wasn't until I hit the 3-month mark and I decided to take me and Holes off to Tenerife, because I thought, I'm going to be holidaying alone with a child. Let's just get
Mm.
this done. And that was very much my approach back then. And I arrived, we're there for a week, landed on the Sunday, and then I pretty much closed down till the Thursday. It wasn't until the Friday that I sort of woke up and interacted with the world. Now, don't get me wrong, I was looking after Holly,
You didn't just take
and
to your
I
bed.
didn't just go to sleep and leave my daughter sitting at the side. But I went through the motions. I didn't
Mhm.
feel anything, and I remember it feeling absolutely horrible. And the guys from Way were all supporting me all the way, and it was wonderful, giving that little G up. And then on the Friday, I sort of came back to life, and then walked into my council on the Tuesday. I'm like, "What was that?" And she went, "That is running.
Mm.
Learn to sit with your feelings. And that such a long time ago,
Mm.
that was one of the first lessons I got taught. And so, however we get there, that first point of actually saying, to what today I feel like shit, so I'm gonna write it off, I'm gonna do nothing and just feel like shit, and then tomorrow I'm gonna be all right. Until you
Mm.
get to that point, do whatever you need to do to guys, just be safe.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that you do speak about this because we are obviously we're very aware of men's mental health being an issue, and we did we tragically lost a friend last week, and um, the sort of community's reeling a little bit. So the more men that do speak out about mental health, and yeah, actually, Erica said in her episode, she said, "Let the darkness in," and I think there's a value in that. You don't want to wallow in your grief, but you do have to acknowledge it, and you do have to let it in. And ideally, you want to do that incrementally, and not in a great big wave of it. But grief does what grief does.
Mm.
So, counselling personally gives me that outlet. So I'm for an hour or 45 minutes a week. I'm in the safe room. I'm in this room where I can talk about I don't know. I mean, I can't even think of an example actually. But it's probably not anything that I necessarily wouldn't talk about to John at home, but it's helps me to kind of put things in order, if it were. That everything's I think you might have used the analogy once on here. Everything's still there, but you kind of stack it neatly. And for somebody that is quite chaotic in both thought, speech, and left unattended in life, really, and being able to put things into sort of safe pockets so I can go back in and kind of look at them. Am I
No,
waffling or is
no,
this making
that's exactly,
sense?
yeah, you file them away so everything comes back, and, you can find the bit that you need when you wanna go and go and do things. And that's the exact analogy that it was put to me, is you find things where you can access them. They're not gone, but you can control the access to them, and you can control your own responses to them, so
Yeah,
you're less crashing and where you're more stable. But, you know, as Julia Samuel quite rightly puts, it's not an easy process.
no,
It's the hard way, but it's never an easy process for
yeah,
anything in life. But, you know, time and everything will pass. Every emotion passes and changes.
yeah, it does. And we say that you have to work through your grief because it is work. It's called work for a reason. And essentially, it is difficult. And the only person really at the end of it that's going to do it is you. And that feels like a really harsh thing to say, particularly if you're in the early stages, because I don't mean that you can't lean on people and be supported and be cherished and cared for, which I so hope most of you are. I know not all of you are, and my heart does go out to you. Um, but it's more about making the choice that you want to keep living and that you want to experience things and that your life has been irrecoverably God, I can never say that word, irrecoverably, but I like the,
I'm
your
not
word
even going to attempt
no,
to say
okay,
that.
your word has been, yeah, smashed to pieces actually, and everything that you knew has changed, but there is still possibility and hope out there, and I think if you can hold on to that and keep that going, that really is a powerful emotion to have, and when you go into a dark pit of despair, hope is very difficult to find. And one of the things my counsellor actually suggested was that you almost write to yourself and, just remind yourself that the you that goes into despair and feels very helpless and powerless is not really you. It's a temporary state and it will, and as you say to me a lot, it will pass. So that might be something to consider, just like a box. I don't know. Make sure you eat well, put like your little favourite snacks in, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you mentioned that you're cancer with Chatty, and I also heard on a podcast, not today, which
Is this
is
one that you've sent me?
yeah, well, if guys want it, we'll put it into the show notes. But
Mm.
it's a really good. It's the Doctor Alex Fox, I think. He was something to do with Love Island. He lost his brother to suicide, and he's now focused over to um lobbying the government around mental health in youth, and
Okay.
he's trying to raise a 200 million fund, create these like drop-in centres for mental health for under 25s.
Okay.
Um, so
Sort of catch it while they're young sort of thing, that which makes so
yeah,
much sense.
yeah, and it's like we've always spoke about as well. It's like, why is there no just walk-in holistic check top to
Mm,
bottom, check for any neurodiversity, any depression or
mm,
anything else, and
mm.
then signpost to the right people. But That's a conversation for a different podcast. Sorry,
Well, I
everybody.
know we keep coming up with ideas for new podcasts. We should probably get one going. I have don't like to brag, but I have recorded 4 episodes this week. I was interviewed on ADHD mums, which, considering the name of the podcast, probably gives it. It only took us 4 attempts to arrange, which I think is successful, and I had a really lovely time. I've never been interviewed on a podcast before, and yeah, it was awesome. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I tried to interview them a couple of times. I sort of forgot where I was.
And if there were any other podcasts out there that would like Rosie, go to our website at www.widowedaf.com and look at contact. Always hustling.
Always hustling. So one thing I do want to mention is that almost everybody will now have broken up for the school holidays if you have school-age children. And that comes with a host of highs, but also it's very, very difficult. It's difficult if you're working, because who the hell can take 6 or 7 weeks off? I mean, we're very fortunate we work for ourselves. It's difficult if you're on your own, because it feels like everybody's going on holidays or hanging out with people or doing stuff with families, and it's really, really difficult. So one thing, I had a little idea, because within my social group, I'm no longer the person that's on their own, but I was, and there are people in my social group that are separated, divorced, anyway, I don't need to know all that really, do and what we've got a WhatsApp group, and I thought, why don't we just kind of check in the mornings with the group and just be, especially if you live close to each other, and just sort of say, does any, if you're going to the park, maybe just say, does anybody want to come to the park? And that kind of 15, 20 minutes of just interaction with other humans is really, really powerful and really good.
It is. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I mean, actually, and for many people who have a much more nuclear family, somebody's got to work usually during the summer. So many mothers usually, and sometimes dads, will be left kind of holding the fort and thinking, oh my God, how am I going to entertain these kids for 6 weeks without going mental or bankrupt, or a healthy combination of the two? So I think that I personally think that's a really helpful idea. And I know that it's quite difficult to ask for help. And I felt quite resentful having to ask for help, because I thought it almost should be a given. But I don't know, people, what's going on in your life is the most catastrophic thing, but to everybody else, the lives are still turning. And that is something that we do have to sort of accept. And obviously this doesn't just apply to widowed people, because all of us need a little bit of human kindness and interaction. And, however happy or content your family life may be, the summer holidays, they are filled with magic, but they are also filled with a lot of demands for snacks.
Oh,
a lot of snacks. I don't know whether to just go to Aldi and just do a supermarket sweep and fill like a cage. Just let them
throw the
just go.
kids into it.
Yeah,
Then we'll understand.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. Oh, one year in fact, it was lockdown. I filled up one of those massive drinks dispensers and just put it outside, because they were not quite at the making their own soft drink stage. And yeah, the snacks. What do you just do about snacks? Just throw them at them like wild animals.
Then you quickly find the snacks that are in favour this particular week.
Oh, yeah, you load up on them, and they know if you buy like really cheap biscuits or something to try and pad it out. But whatever you have to do to get through the summer holidays, people, within reason, you crack on.
Yeah. And a little bit more hustling. We are, at last count, 4 Instagram followers away from 1,000 followers. So tell your aunties, tell your uncles, just give us a follow and give us a little celebration this weekend, please.
We're so pathetic. Our Instagram following is so pathetic, but we just, I like it to keep it as it is. I don't know. I'm a creature of habit.
And apparently we have to keep reminding you to like and subscribe.
Oh, you just like saying it. Just record yourself saying it and play it at every episode.
Also, whilst I have everyone's ear, especially at the end of the day, so we had Julia Samuel on at the beginning of the month, and we also did a little affiliate deal with the software development company behind the app that does Julia's GriefWorks app. And they're very kindly giving us a referral link. Full disclosure, you will get a discount. We will get, I think it's £20 per sign up. We've had a little bit of a problem getting that set up. We tried to do it through the month of July, but we had a few technical faults. So I'm hoping to get that running this month. But if anybody wants the link in the meantime, just drop us a DM on Instagram.
Yeah. And we genuinely think that this could help somebody. We are not pumping this out for our own benefit. I promise. This is genuinely that we think it may be helpful.
Well, sorry to interject, but it's the as you coming out of the chicken and wine phase, it's a safe way to go and have a look at like what you might be facing coming next.
And it's a bit less of a sort of financial commitment than therapy as well. So it's an access point into the world of healing, if that doesn't sound too twatty. I did want to say something else actually. I completely forgot about this. I had a message on my work Instagram, and it was from a mum who has a child in the same primary school as our youngest child, and has seen me and listens to the podcast. She's widowed. And hadn't sort of felt that she felt it would be a bit weird to sort of come up and accost me. So she sent me a message, and I was so touched by this. And she actually drove past me yesterday. So now I've put a face to the name because her Instagram didn't have many pictures. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, who is it? But I love that. And I also, in a way, it makes me sad that I didn't know that there was another member of my tribe that was standing at the school gate. And I wish, but I do now, and I will reach out to you. It's just this idea that we are walking among you, and it feels nice, Wids in the wild, doesn't it? It felt nice to connect with somebody, because whatever life throws our way and wherever it may take us and whatever wonderful adventures we may go on, we are united by the fact that we have lived through what is a fairly unique loss, the loss of your spouse, the loss of your partner, the loss of the person that you shared your life with and expected to spend the rest of your life with. It's really catastrophic, and to reach out to each other and feel this sense of community is incredibly powerful. And I love that this podcast is creating that. So thank you to all of you for listening, reaching out to each other and to us. And it means so much that you all find some peace and comfort hearing us. Most of it.
It certainly does. Some of it, like my constant host, it's probably time to wind up. And I'm going to stop that now.
No, we like it. We like it. Look. Well, well, clearly I've lost the power of speech, so I think that's the time to wind this up. So lots of love, everybody. We are going to attempt next week. We will be, we are flying out to the beautiful island of Skiathos on Wednesday, and to see one of my best friends get married. So this is going to be really lovely. And we'll see what the Wi-Fi connection in the villa is like, but hopefully we will be broadcasting to you from Greece.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.